Hi everybody, my name is Marta Mama. I'm your basic queer bitch. And since I am from Spain, but I grew up in the US, I think I have kind of a unique perspective on Drag Race Spain. So let me tell you everything you didn't get because of the translation. So I'm very sorry this week's review took a little bit longer. I'm going through some stuff in my real life. So, because it's already Saturday afternoon and we have a new episode tomorrow, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things, a couple of references. So, first of all, we have this stupid mini challenge that Carmen and Poopy win, so they can choose characters in the acting challenge that we have for the main challenge this week. The acting challenge is a parody of Física o Química, which was a popular teenage drama that we had in the 2000s. I'm not going to talk a lot about this Básica o Cínica and the reference because, to be honest, it's not from my generation. In Spain, it's kind of popular to have teenage dramas that are centered in a high school. I'm from an older generation, and we had other teenage dramas like Al salir de clase and Compañeros, which are like the parents or the grandparents of Física o Química. So I don't really know much of like the characters. I know a couple of things. Carmen Farella chose to be this ghost, this zombie, and I think she was playing the character that Javier Calvo had. That character was originally a boy and he died. So there's like, he was called Fer. So they made it into like Marifer. And that's the character that Carmen was playing. It had nothing to do with the original character, I guess, because she was just basically a zombie. Poopy chose the principal of the school, and I didn't like the writing. I didn't understand anything at all, maybe because I was never a fan of Física o Química. But I think the only thing the writing got slightly interesting is having like a principal or a teacher that gets turned on when she like when she's correcting tests and people fail, and she like gets super turned on this. Like we've all felt that, I think, in school. So yeah, the writing was, I think, awful. Shout out to Sakitariya because I did understand that reference. She looks just like Auntie, this character. So yeah, shout out to her. I did not like the writing. I think the plot was confusing. I think the characters were confusing. I didn't know what was going on. But well, I don't care because this runway, this category for this runway, is my favorite category that I have ever seen in any Drag Race. Like, I love art history. I love it so much. And the guest judge this week is Alaska. It's not Alaska Thunderfuck from, season 5 and All Stars 2. It's our Alaska Olvido Gara. She is a singer. She is the one that has this song that they sing at the end of the episode instead of saying, if you can't love yourself, how the hell, they say, ¿a quién le importa lo que yo haga? ¿A quién le importa lo que yo diga? Well, that's the gal. And she was one of the big names of non-drag queens to host the show because she has hosted like many other things. She has been a judge since like, I don't know, since the 90s in many TV shows from the same like channel and production. So she has been a judge many times. And since she is like this icon, I guess, and she's always on TV, a lot of people were expecting her, even though she's not what we consider traditionally a drag queen, though she is a little bit. People thought she was going to be the guest, the host of the show. So there is a lot of controversy with this person because of her political views. She works with a lot of conservative, very, very, very ultra conservative media and conservative people. She is friends with very, very conservative people. But on the other hand, she has always been very open about being an ally to the LGBTQI plus community. And she is like, there's a little controversy. I'm very attached in my childhood to this person, and I don't know, like this person has been like very big in my family growing up. So I like to see her there, and I think all her critiques were very, very, very good, and she wasn't afraid of voicing her opinion, and I think her opinions were like valuable. But it's a character that a lot of people in the community is not like, you know. The category is Spanish art. Voy a echar un cuadro. I explained this like idiom, voy a echar un cuadro, with Ugacio's Runway in episode 1, because that's his catchphrase that he says at the beginning of the episode. And it means voy a echar un cuadro. It means I look like a painting, but it also means like I look like a hot mess. So they use that name and the Spanish art, and I think it had to be specifically like a painting, not like any type of art. We'll go into that a little bit later. So first on the runway, we have the Wima Nurmi. The Wima Nurmi looked like this. Her reference is Dali. So you know what happened in season 7 with the Night of 1,000 Madonnas and the kimonos? So that's what happened in this episode with Dali, because everyone likes Dali. But well, the Wima chose Dali because she is from Catalonia, just like Dali, and she chose this painting. And she also referenced a couple of things that were done, like I've seen like runways. I'm gonna try to find some pictures. I found like this cool guy on Twitter, and he's from Italy, and he studied art history, and he had like a lot of like reference pictures. So I'm gonna leave his link down below because I thought that was very cool. So it's not only like this painting, she's also referencing like references in the fashion industry. And then we have Poopy Poison. Poopy Poison was being a menina, and that's probably one of the most famous paintings that we have in Spain, Las Meninas de Velázquez, and she was being the character in the middle. And yeah, there's a lot of things that have been said about this look, a lot of ways of how Poopy could have improved it. It could have looked like when you're in a theater and they open the curtains like with a little, that could have been cooler. It needed probably a lot more yards of fabric on the skirt. You could see the blue under thing that they had. Like, there's a lot of things, but I agree with Alaska. It is very difficult when you're Poopy to still have like your personality in every look, when you're, especially when you're looking like a painting. And people are critiquing the hair, but she's working on a reference. She had like this personal story about a little menina that they had like in their home. So I love Poopy, you know, I love her. And I think she was doing like a great job. We're talking about Poopy, we're talking about campiness. She has to be campy. Are there better ways of doing it? Yes, but Poopy is not like a traditional drag queen. She's not about a look. Here in Spain, drag queens would be probably like Bulgano in Canarias, but performers like Poopy, traditionally in Spain, I know this is very offensive and very difficult to understand, but these type of performers in Spain are called travestis, like cross-dressers, or like that's how they're called. And I know this would be like very, very, very offensive anywhere else, but because of our history and our queer history and how queer performers have developed through like after having our dictatorship and such. That is the word that they have actually reclaimed for themselves. So when we say like drag queens in Spain, we don't like immediately think about people like Poopy Poison. We think more like Vulcano and rhinestones and moon boots and things like that. These are like bar, pub performers, 4 a.m. looking busted, and you know it's a different vibe, and no disrespect actually, but there are two different arts. You know, drag is very diverse, and this is like the campiness and the fun and the wittiness, and that's what Poopy brings. Maybe she's not the best drag queen, but she isn't like claiming to be one, I guess. I really love this type of art, and I think Poopy brings a lot to the table. Next up is Killer Queen, another Dali. This time she's referencing like different pictures from Dali, and she just looks amazing. And I think she did a great job incorporating the yellow in the hair and the mustache. The mustache is from Dali himself, which was as a character already being himself, like a performance in himself. I really like Dali's art, but I don't like him. Yeah, I think it's very interesting what she did with the colors. I really like the long sticks that she had, referencing other pictures. You can see many of these elements in many Dali pictures, and this look is just amazing. I love what Killer is doing. Killer is killing it. And next we have Ugacio Crujiente. A lot of people aren't getting this reference. Ugacio Crujiente, I think, is serving at Cervantes, who is a writer. That's like the person, the guy with the mustache. I think that's Cervantes. And he is a painting of Cervantes by Ricardo Cabolo. Ricardo Cabolo is a 21st century artist. He's from Andalusia. He's like a very current artist, and he's an illustrator, and he has illustrated like many things, like this very cool book of Lorca, our like very famous poet that we have. And he is a very, very great illustrator. You may be familiar with some of these images. And Ugacio is coming out of the painting. So he has the frame of the painting crossing his body, and everything that's under that is like brown and like cool colors, and everything that's like from the painting to this way, it's like if he is coming out of this painting through the image of Ricardo Cabolo's illustrations. So I was gagging absolutely when I saw this look. This is probably my favorite look from Ugacio. I'm really gagging like with his face. I'm absolutely gagging with the concept, because it's very easy to go to this very famous, very antique painting that everyone knows. It's very easy to go to like the gag of Dali. He went for like a current illustrator that's an artist, a current artist that's really killing it right now. And I really appreciate that, because he could have chosen anyone, but he like made an illustration with the technique that Ricardo Cabolo uses, and that illustration is from Cervantes, and like the 3D effect of him coming out of the frame, out of the painting with all the different colors. I think this was wonderful. I love this look from Ugacio. I really, really, really love them. And spoiler alert, not a spoiler, Ugacio is the one that leaves. And I just want to like thank Ugacio for having such an amazing art vision. I admire them very, very much as an artist. The references, the colors. I think that what Ugacio is doing right now is going to really have an effect in modern art and performative art. And the look, there are certain drag performers, drag artists, or look artists, or however you want to call Ugacio, certain looks that have been very, very relevant in art, in fashion, in performance, in many other ways. Like, for example, Hungry. Is she hungry? Hungry, I think from Germany. You're gonna see an influence of how they paint in many, many other places in art. Or Juno Birch in the UK, you're gonna see like references and people trying to copy her. But those are some current people in the drag world that are having a huge impact in many things. And I truly think that is a space where Ugacio is going to be, because I think what he's giving is very, very interesting, is very different. He has cool reference, he's very unique. And I'm very, very sad to see them leave because I love them so much as an artist. I'm not interested in who wins or loses, or I'm not interested in like the reality show part of all of this. I'm interested in the art, the references, and why they make their artistic decisions. And I have this artistic crush on Ugacio and their brain. I think Ugacio is a lot bigger than a drag race competition. Have their art with this barrier of what drag race isn't going to be like the smartest thing. I think there are bigger things around than drag race. Drag race may be the most mainstream drag competition, but the art world, I think, is very diverse, and there are a lot of options for people like Ugacio. Then we have Sakitariya. Sakitariya is another Dali painting, Mujer con cabeza de flores. And people are critiquing her because this look is very simple. I think the painting is quite simple itself. I think it's a good representation of the painting. But what I wanted to tell you, all the tea, is that in Twitter, Sakitariya said that her original idea was to make a look inspired by the Sagrada Familia, which is this, but the show told her that it had to be a painting, so she had to change her original idea. So that might be the reason why this is a little bit more simple. I think she can be successful in a very simple look because of, I don't know what reasons, but this was successful for her in my opinion. So I would have loved to see the one inspired by La Sagrada Familia. Girl, I would have loved to see that. Maybe someday, please, Sagitaria, please. And then we have Carmen Farella. Carmen Farella was inspired by Miro. Here you have some examples of Miro. And Miro was very popular in a certain time in Spain when his paintings started to have a lot of value, probably in the 80s and the 90s. So all her look is very 80s, 90s, the hair, the bodice that she's wearing, the rhinestones, and the skirt has all these images that are very Miro inspired. When she finishes her runway, she squirting blue paint from the belt. This is inspired obviously by the robots spray painting in the Alexander McQueen fashion show. This is what Bimini Bamboulash was trying to do with the balloons in UK season 2, but didn't do successfully. So the way they're doing it is with this little belt around the skirt, and that's what's squirting out the paint. Very good method. It was very you could, but for me it's not two things that don't make any sense put together. But Miro as an artist was for what people didn't understand him very much because it looked like children coloring books, or if you lead a notepad to a child, what they would paint, what they would draw, that would look very, very Miro-esque. So the squirting of the paint, I think it made sense with Miro the artist. So I think mixing the Alexander McQueen robot shooting paint fashion show thing with Miro actually makes sense. Maybe it only does for me, but well. Shout out to the girls that were eliminated, because I would have loved to see Vulcano as Velázquez. She like did the drag version of the painter instead of the painting, and I think this was amazing. Velázquez is the painter of Las Meninas from Poopy's look, and he is actually the painter himself in that painting. I would have loved to see, of course, Macarena. I have to talk about the Macarena in every single review because I love her so much. And she had chosen another Dali painting, and it would have looked like this. And especially shout out to the look that I think is the most amazing one. I don't care if she's not in the competition anymore, but the look that Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha thought about was the Efe because, this was in the news all around the world, and this lady tried to repaint or like recover this old painting that was very valuable, and she shouldn't have done anything because she ruined it. So Arancha had this cool idea of being painted like a white Jesus with long flowy hair and Trixie Mattel makeup down the runway, and then to turn around and have her face switch to like the horrible one. And I think this is so genius, not only because this is local, this is relevant, but I think Arancha is a very good example of a like Gen Z artist, a Gen Z drag artist, and this is very memeable. And memes are a very important way that we transmit information. And she is taking everything that makes Gen Zs interesting and she's making that into art. And the fact that this is what she thought, I think is absolutely genius, and I'm very, very sad that she's not here. Auntie was going to do this super cool look, all with duct tape, I believe, inspired by Goya. If you ask me, personally, I would have chosen this painting by Rivera. It's called The Bearded Lady, and it is a lady that is breastfeeding their child, and she's a bearded lady, and she looks like it is a famous, very, very famous painting in Spain. And I think this would have been very interesting to talk about different female bodies and faces, and females come in all shapes, sizes, and forms and colors, and I would have loved that, but I think that what they chose was great. A little too much Dali, but maybe I know I'm only saying that because I don't like the guy. Probably. And yeah, I'm very sorry that this week review took a little too long. I hope you still enjoy it. You can go follow me on my Twitter. I'm always talking about drag stuff. You can send me a PayPal if you really want to support me. I'm probably, all my mental health issues would be a lot better if I have some stable income, to be honest. So, thank you very much for your comments. I always have the best comments, to be honest. The more people that see you, the more hate comments you get, and you always get like a couple of them. But honestly, everyone that critiques me, like, you're always saying like good things about the queens. Just say the truth. If they're doing a bad job, you just say that. And it's like, why don't you guys do your own reviews where you can say shit? Like, you can say whatever you want. I'm gonna do the ones that I want to do. And I can like people in different ways. And I'm not interested in the competition aspect. It's not that difficult to understand. Next week is going to be very interesting. Next week is the roast, and I think that's like a very deal breaker in Drag Race. And I'm very excited to watch that tomorrow if I can take some time off. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a couple of comments. I really try to answer to all the comments you leave. So thank you very, very much for your support. I love you. Stay queer. See you in a couple days.